Welcome to the Explainer. So let's just dive right in, because we're looking at a brilliantly scrappy solution to a problem literally almost all of us have dealt with. Picture this. It's a sweltering July afternoon. Downstairs, your thermostat reads a perfectly pleasant 76 degrees. But then you walk upstairs, maybe into that one bedroom over the garage, and bam, it feels like an absolute sauna. It's sitting at like 86 degrees. The ceiling actually feels warm to the touch. It's incredibly frustrating, right? Well, today, we're going to explore how you can use a dead simple $35 thermal chimney to vent that trapped heat using nothing but basic science.
And here is the real irony of modern cooling, especially when you think about what your air conditioner is actually doing late in the afternoon. Think about it for a second. The sun might already be dropping, but your compressor, it's running, shutting off, and running again 10 minutes later. It isn't just cooling the outdoor air leaks anymore. It is frantically trying to clean up hours of trapped heat. Your house is basically acting like a massive thermal battery, just soaking up the sun's energy all day long. And you are literally paying higher utility bills to fight heat that absolutely could have been vented outside before it ever migrated into your living space.
To put that into perspective, we're talking about 150 degrees. Yeah, 150. That is the blistering reality of an attic trapped under dark shingles with weak ventilation. 130 to 150 degrees. That hot air just sits right against the underside of your roof deck, basically baking your rafters, your insulation, your ductwork, and the top side of every single ceiling below it. It's like an oven up there. If your ductwork happens to run through the attic, cold air leaves your AC unit, passes through this 150-degree oven, and gives back a chunk of the cooling you literally just paid for before it even reaches your room.
So how do we usually tackle this? Well, the traditional big box store route is the powered attic fan. But I want to contrast that expensive grid straining machine with a simple $35 painted metal duct. A powered fan, it needs a motor, it needs an app, and it needs electricity, which, by the way, is exactly what you don't want when the grid is about to tap out during a heat wave. Plus, if it pulls too hard, it can actually suck your expensive air-conditioned air right up into the attic. No thanks. The painted metal duct, on the other hand, uses the exact same punishing summer sun that heats your house to do the exhaust work for you. No motor, no app, no pricey service contract. Just physics.
Let's break down the physics making this possible. It's something called the stack effect. Basically, warm air is lighter than cooler air. When you give it a vertical path, it wants to rise. If you stick a black metal duct on the sunny, outside wall of your house, that metal picks up solar heat incredibly fast. The air touching the inside wall of the duct warms up, it expands, becomes less dense, and shoots straight upward. As that column of hot air rises out the top, it causes the pressure to drop at the intake down at the bottom. That tiny pressure difference, it literally pulls the hot, stale air right out of your attic or your room.
Now, I know this kind of sounds like one of those weird internet hacks, but I promise you, it's totally legit. It is backed directly by the U.S. Department of Energy's passive solar guidance, not to mention ASHRAE natural ventilation principles. For those who don't know, ASHRAE is the engineering society that literally writes the standard guidance for heating and cooling. So this is proven building science. As the Department of Energy points out, the very same heat wave that's punishing your house acts as the engine to pull air out of it. You just have to give that heat a controlled path.
And honestly, this isn't exactly a new concept either. Builders have known how to manipulate geometry to move hot air for centuries, way before electric motors even existed. Think about the hot, dry regions of ancient Persia. Builders there used these massive, tall wind catchers and vertical shafts to draw cool air in and pull stale air out. We see the exact same thermal chimney principles in American barn cupolas or in the clerestory windows of old factories that released heat from above the workers. Even in modern passive solar trombe walls. They didn't need digital controllers. They just used height, heat, and pressure to get the job done.
Okay, pay attention here, because the absolute make or break concept for this entire system is makeup air. If you take away literally only one technical term from this explainer today, make it this one. If you're pulling air out of a hot room or an attic, that air absolutely has to be replaced by air from somewhere else, like a cooler hallway, maybe a shaded window, or existing soffit vents. Building a chimney without makeup air is exactly like holding a straw with your finger over the bottom opening. The draft just completely fades because nothing can replace what leaves. You have to give the room a path to breathe.
So if you want this to work well, you really have to respect the physical variables. First up, vertical height matters. A taller column of warm air produces a much stronger pull. Second, the temperature difference is key, which is exactly why we paint the duct black to absorb way more heat. Third, use at least a 4-inch duct as a baseline so you don't choke off the flow. And crucially, keep the path smooth. Air absolutely hates sharp turns. A smooth metal pipe is always going to beat a wrinkled plastic hose.
always. And of course, make sure the whole setup gets strong south or west sun exposure.
And honestly, the best part of all this? The cost. It costs roughly $35 to build a legitimate working test rig right from the hardware store aisles. It's crazy cheap. Let's take a look at exactly what you're going to need. All right, here is your shopping list. And yes, you can definitely skip those expensive motorized aisles. It's incredibly simple. You're going to need a 4-inch metal dryer duct or stovepipe. You need some flat black high-temperature paint to make that pipe act like a solar collector. You'll want a scrap piece of plywood or rigid foam to make a window insert, and then just grab some foil HVAC tape, a bit of insect screen to keep the bugs out, and a very light backdraft damper. The whole shebang, all cheap, all super readily available. I recommend building the window version first because it's a great way to test this out, and it's completely reversible. So, step 1, measure and cut your plywood or foam insert so it fits securely right into your window opening. Next, mount that 4-inch duct vertically on the outside of the insert. But here's the trick, make sure the intake on the room side sits as high up as possible. Remember, that's where the absolute hottest air collects. Paint the exterior pipe flat black, let it cure, and then finally assemble the whole thing and seal it up tight.
Actually, let me pause right here for a second because this is a mistake that will literally ruin the entire project. When you're sealing your joints, you must use foil HVAC tape, not your standard cloth duct tape. Cloth duct tape just dries out, curls up, and completely fails in high heat. Foil tape is specifically designed for duct seams. If your insert or your pipe joints leak, the chimney is just going to pull outside air from the leak instead of pulling the hot, stale air from inside your room. It defeats the whole purpose. So, tape it properly, seal every single joint. Now, what if your bedroom isn't the problem, but your attic is? Well, you can try the attic gable variant. Basically, you build a panel that fits snugly behind an existing gable louver or vent path. But listen, the absolute golden rule here is this. Do not, under any circumstances, cut permanent holes in your roof. Don't cut through your shingles, don't cut into your rafters. You just want to test this concept using the existing openings so you don't accidentally create a massive repair bill or a nightmare water leak. And speaking of rules, we need to do a rapid fire safety check because this is absolutely crucial. First off, no PVC pipe. Dark plastic sitting in direct sun will soften, it'll warp, and it will smell terrible. Just use metal. Second, use a light backdraft damper so hot outdoor air doesn't slide backward into your room at night. Third, put a light screen on the outlet for pests. But most importantly, and I cannot stress this enough, keep this system completely away from all combustion appliances. Do not set this up near a furnace, a water heater, or an attached garage. You really do not want to accidentally pull dangerous combustion gases or carbon monoxide the wrong way into your living space. Okay, so what if you set this up and it isn't working perfectly right out of the gate? Don't panic. Passive systems like this are incredibly honest. They will tell you exactly where the pressure or the heat is being lost. Got absolutely no draft? Double check that the pipe is actually in direct, strong sunlight. Getting a really weak pull? You probably forgot to make up air. Go crack a door or window downstairs. Is the pipe losing pressure? You've definitely got a leak, so go check that foil tape. And if you're getting reverse flow at night, your backdraft damper is either totally missing or it's just too heavy to flap shut. It's like a giant puzzle, but super easy to solve. Once you've got it running, you absolutely have to try the cardboard shade test. This is what proves to you that it's not just some gimmick, but actual physics at work. And honestly, you probably won't completely believe it until you see it in action. Here's what you do. Hold a strip of tissue or a little bit of incense near the intake inside the room. In full sun, you'll actually see the tissue lean inward as the draft pulls it. Now, have someone go outside and shade that black pipe with a piece of cardboard. Within minutes, you will watch the draft visibly weaken and just die out. Take the cardboard away, let the sun hit the metal again, and watch the pull return. It is honestly so satisfying to watch. As we wrap this up, we do need to manage our expectations just a little bit. Remember, this is a pressure tool. It is not a cold air machine. A $35 painted pipe is obviously not going to replace your central air conditioning. It can't compress refrigerant, and it definitely can't blow 55-degree air. What it does do, however, is constantly and quietly remove stale heat from the very highest points of your house so that heat doesn't sink deeper into your home. It basically just makes sure your expensive AC isn't fighting a totally losing battle against heat that got trapped hours earlier. The retail market might want to sell you some complex, motorized, app-connected box, but building science shows us that sometimes a simple piece of metal in the afternoon sun are literally all you need to move the needle. So why keep paying a premium to fight trapped heat when you can force the sun to do the heavy lifting for you? Which version are you going to build this weekend to put the science to the test? The window insert or the attic gable? Grab $35, head to the hardware store, and take back your upstairs.